Good evening, everybody. Paul Eston Jr. here, a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. We're streaming live simultaneously in 3 different places right now. The Heavy on Jets Facebook page, 20,000 screaming loud New York Jets fans who are still up on a Thursday night. How are you not following the Thursday night football game? LA Chargers, Kansas City Chiefs, and Chargers. Thank you for the backdoor cover. Booyah. Cash money. Yes, sir. Love it. Although I thought the Chargers were going to win straight up, but that's neither here nor there. Streaming live on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/BoyGreen25 for all kinds of great New York Jets groovy content. And of course, on my Twitter account, @BoyGreen25. Team verified, baby, which means I'm a big deal. So why aren't you following me? So hit that up as well, @BoyGreen25. With that being said, we're here live. We're going to be answering your questions. So wherever you're watching the show, feel free to get involved, get your participation trophy. You know, you want to feel involved, so get involved. And we'll be bringing up your comments and questions throughout today's show. We'll be going for however long you guys are going to be interactive and jumping in. So I'm looking forward to all of that. But I will not be alone because no one is ever alone. You know what? You can have all kinds of things behind you. And to me, I've got a special guest. I've got, quite frankly, a key cog to the machine here that you guys have been tuning into this show for a long time in the video platform, and obviously my most recent contributions to Heavy.com, which is one of the platforms that we're streaming live on. And it's thanks to wonderful people like you guys that tune in every week and comment, engage with the show, ask questions, but also because of sponsors and sponsors that make this possible. And you've been hearing me talk about this sponsor on the show, but it's time to bring him from behind the curtain. It's time to screw the Wizard of Oz. It's time to see the magic that has been happening. So I want to introduce you guys to a special guest. His name is Roshan Joshi. I'm about to bring him on camera, but I want to talk about his special business on top of him being a New York Jets fan as well. And guys, if you're curious about real estate or creating wealth, which who isn't all about that through real estate in business, our friends at XV Community hold a free weekly Zoom call for the public with a different 7-figure earner on as a guest every single week. You can connect with peers, learn from guests, and of course ask questions just as we advocate on this very program. They do it for free. How are they able to do this? I have no idea. Maybe we can ask Roshan Joshi that question here momentarily. The XV Community is one of the best lineups every week in real estate investing. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. We're going to go together right now. And you can follow him on his Instagram, instagram.com/RojoSharp. And we bring him in right now. His name is Roshan Joshi. What's poppin', baby?
Paul, Boy Green, one of the best in the business. Really appreciate you you bringing me on with all the awesome energy. Before we even jump in, man, I want to say thank you.
Sure.
Dude, you're doing us all an awesome service. I'm a Jets fan, obviously. You're doing us all an awesome service every single week. A lot of us appreciate you out here. You're an energy assassin. So you get us all going and get us all excited about our favorite football team. So before business, before sponsorships, before any of that, dude, I'm a big fan of yours. I appreciate everything you're doing out here. And let's talk a little bit of football too.
Yeah. Also, I need to tell my production team, Energy Assassin. Let's get that on the business card ASAP. Okay, my team is on that behind the scenes. Thank you so much, guys. So Energy Assassin, we'll be adding that in here soon. I guess first off, let's come off the Thursday night football game. I mean, juicy. It wasn't quite what I think some people expected heading into this game. The over-under was 54.5. Again, it just settled in under. I believe we had 51 on that, according to the Vegas people coming in. And then, of course, the spread, which was Chiefs 4 at home. Given 4, and then Chargers, of course, with the backdoor cover on that action as well. And I think as Jet fans, again, we can only dream and salivate of having that level of quarterback play. Patrick Mahomes, considered one of the best quarterbacks in football. Justin Herbert got banged up in that game, so thoughts and prayers. Hopefully he ends up being okay. But all this wonderful quarterback play, we're hoping that Zach Wilson, of course, can bring a little bit of that chutzpah to the table, if I'm right, Roshan.
Oh my gosh, cannot wait. Week 4, he should be coming out, and we can finally start getting rid of the question marks that we have, right? This is year 2. We can finally see him in that second year of the system. We can finally see the chains move a little bit more. Seeing that competitive football today was fantastic, being able to see these two powerhouse teams. something that I think everybody always thinks is it's going to be a shootout. It's going to be a shootout. It's going to be a shootout. But what we're seeing is a lot of these teams are really investing heavily into their defense, seeing what they have in the division. I mean, the Chargers defense looking great, so do the Chiefs. And seeing, okay, we had these top level quarterback play in our conference in the AFC. Let's get a banger defense out there so that we can create that roadblock.
By the way, questionable effort, old Gerald Everett. Speaking of defense, pick 6, which completely changes the game from the goal line. Gerald Everett, it gets picked off. He's like reaching for his shoe. Everett, what the hell, man? Let's throw a little something out there. A lazy ass route, and your quarterback's like, dude, what the hell? And he's like, there was a dog barking. Where? What dog? I ran in the bushes. What do you mean? Come on, Everett. So, yeah, that was not great. Welcoming a couple people in here. Matthias Simon, great game. Absolutely it was. Jacob, I'm going to be – is it weird to know I'm going to fall asleep listening to you? Jacob, I'm going to be honest. I am honored. Absolutely. If my soothing pipes can put you to bed, you're welcome, quite frankly. So thank you. But before you go to sleep, how about like the video, hit subscribe down below for phenomenal New York Jets content. Why don't you do that? Earlier this week, the great – Connor Hughes of SNY TV gracing us with his presence. That's 3,500 views on YouTube. Very nice. Thank you for the support, everybody. And, of course, shout out to Jared Mueller. We do our weekly previews, of course. Jets, Browns, that's coming up on Sunday. We'll be jumping into that with old Rojo here just in a little bit. So we'll have a little bit of that on the docket as well. So, yeah, not bad Thursday night football game to get things started. And a beautiful, juicy week 2. Those are the kind of games. Week 1, not bad last week, Bills, Rams. So, okay, let's keep this train rolling of the phenomenal matchups coming up here shortly. And old Joshi, let's go to Zach Wilson real quick. Again, absolutely bummer news in the preseason. He goes down, and we just feel like, oh, boy, another Jet situation here. Then it's not as bad as we think. And then Robert Saleh kind of goes out till at least week 4. And then we're like, boy. But we saw Zach Wilson back at practice this week. That's the big update. And, again, Robert Saleh said he wants a week of practice, and then Zach Wilson could be back. So the fact that he's already back at practice is likely a good sign. What's the anticipation level for you to see Zach Wilson, especially after seeing the statue, the mobile parked car that was Joe Flacco? How excited are you to eventually see Zach Wilson sooner rather than later?
Well, that's the thing, right? Sooner rather than later is ideal, but we don't want to rush him right back in there. Now, I do personally want to get rid of all the question marks that we have at quarterback.
Yes.
But if we have to solidify our O-line using Joe Flacco as a meat shield in the beginning, and all respect to Joe,
yeah,
if we have to be able to solidify our brand new O-line using a backup quarterback, rock it as long as we can until it's like legit and Zach is healthy. Also, when Zach is back, lean more into his legs. Lean more into his legs, because there are a couple of plays from last season where his legs popped off. Kid's fast. He's mobile. He's the exact opposite of what we're currently seeing. And all respect and love to Joe. He's doing what he can out there. The dude's like 37 or something like that.
Yeah.
But I really hope that this year we're really leaning into, of course, using our running backs, which we got to see that last game. Zach Wilson actually using his legs and creating that true play action pass threat, right? Like, which way are they going with it? Is the running back taking it? Are they throwing the ball, or is Zach just going to pull it down and run for 25 yards?
Yeah, I mean, we saw it in the Jacksonville game where he went buck wild. So, and I think Zach Wilson brought this up when he spoke to the media after, because in the preseason game, again, this is before the injury. I'm watching Jets Eagles. I see Zach Wilson escape the initial pressure, which again is something I'm very much looking forward to when he's out there, because Joe Flacco can't avoid anything. I mean, again, the only thing he can avoid is, again, if he's jumping out of a boat, I would hope he finds water. But the fact of the matter is that Zach Wilson's ability to improvise and escape outside the pocket should also help the offensive line a bit, because you can kind of cut the field in half and have easier reads from that perspective. So I am looking forward to that. But at the end of the day, Joe Flacco has just been somewhat unappealing. I'm going to be honest. I thought he was this great backup quarterback. I said, perfect. He's going to be able to move the ball. I'm not expecting Patrick Mahomes back there, but I was hoping he could move the football. So hopefully he could do a little bit better because, some things that we were expecting just didn't happen. Laken Tomlinson being a stud. He was absolutely smacked around week 1. I hope that's simply a blip on the radar, and I do believe that's what it's going to continue to be. Wow, we are getting a million comments in here, which is awesome. So, guys, keep them coming here.
I do. Before we jump into one,
sure. Yeah.
I do want to instill that, like, play calling too, right? Like, we should have a rule that if it's 3 and 6 or more, 3 and 5 and more, don't throw a check down.
Yeah.
Don't throw a check down. Try to throw past the sticks. Don't worry about yards after catch. At least make the attempt to move the sticks forward. I love a good check down. I love a good safety read and being able to check the ball down and letting people use their legs. Throw the ball past the sticks just every once in a while. It would be, ideal. So play calling is something I would really, really love to see LaFleur just step up and really thrive in. And more than just the regular every once in a while trick plays, like real true moving the chains forward.
Actually, speaking of that, before we get into the question, speaking of coaching, it's one of the headlines on this video, so I would be remiss if I kept teasing the fans and dragging them along if I didn't, of course, answer the headline, which is Garrett Wilson, of course, giving a little shish kebab to the coaching staff, and for good reason. The top 10 pick, the highest drafted receiver by the Jets since Keyshawn Johnson was the number 1 pick in 1996. The first-round receiver in 21 years for the Jets got all of checks, notes, 6 gosh darn snaps in the first half. And Robert Saleh, well, we were trying to go jumbo busting up Michael LaFleur. Well, you see, we wanted to get Garrett Wilson more, blah, 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 blah. Excuses. That's what I heard. You get Garrett Wilson on the gosh darn field. How about that? Doesn't take a rocket scientist to get that kid on the field. I get it. The receiving course deep. You got Corey Davis, $37 million. Elijah Moore, budding star. Braxton Berrios is pretty solid. But how about get Garrett Wilson on the field? On the old Graham, he's saying, hey, let me free. Hashtag free Garrett Wilson. I agree, Garrett. We are in complete alignment. So while there's a compelling case by Robert Saleh, compelling case by Mike LaFleur, why it didn't happen, well, okay, we'll never let it happen again, pal, because guess what? We saw, and I was there live at MetLife Stadium, that 3rd and 10 Garrett Wilson, give him a little shake and bake special. Buy one, get one free. And left your jockstrap in aisle 4, huh? As he's making some moves. That's what I like to see from Garrett Wilson. So how about the coaching staff? Use Garrett Wilson. Hashtag analysis. Hashtag maybe do that, pal. So that's one thing I would certainly like to see. Not enough Garrett Wilson action for me in the first game. Hopefully we see that, obviously, coming up against Cleveland. That was one I was scratching my head, Roshan. I was scratching my head there.
And he's one of those joystick guys, right? Between him and Elijah Moore, we're going to have one of the most diverse wide receiving cores out there if we can solidify it correctly with the quarterback. But no, I'm absolutely with you. And we got to get this guy on the field so that he can get those reps in, so that he can develop the best that we can have him develop. We got all these playmakers. Our first round picks look fantastic. Sauce looked great.
Yeah, sure.
Jermaine Johnson got a sack. Let Garrett Wilson loose. I know it was the first game. That's great. You made your mistake. Don't make the same mistake twice. Put the best players that we have on the field.
100%. Again, I think that just makes a lot of sense. Let's go through some comments here. And again, we're going to work a lot of different stuff into this conversation. Everaldo De Jesus, when is Zach coming back? Again, the latest from the coaching staff is minimum week 4 against Pittsburgh. But to me, not to kind of lead some of you along, this is not sourced. This is just me connecting some dots. Again, Robert Saleh said Zach Wilson has to have a full week of practice before they throw him out there. The fact that he is in practice this week, he was a limited participant today, the fact that that was the case, and he's not playing in the game this week, obviously, that means next week he would have another full week of practice outside of some sort of setback. Maybe Bengals does happen. And talk about that. You're able to beat the Browns. And again, that's no gimme. The Browns are, I think it's a 7.5 point favorite by the latest Vegas lines on the road. But it's Jacoby Brissett. I mean, people, come on. I get it. Myles Garrett's good. Jadeveon Clowney's good. Guess what? This is the NFL. Teams have good players. But not all teams have good quarterbacks, and Jacoby Brissett sucks. So if you're able to beat that scrub, you head into potentially week 3 against a Bengals team who, by the way, somehow lost that Pittsburgh game. That was still weird week 1, but whatever. Okay, so you got that week 3 game, and if Zach Wilson maybe comes back, I think there's a chance Zach Wilson comes back next week, despite what the coaching staff said. And I know they always project these injury timelines out, and we were like, he's out for 20 years. But it would be nice for once to say something like that and say, actually, he's ahead of schedule. He's going to play in the Bengals game. So we will see how that develops. Again, I'm not a doctor. I just sometimes play one on the show. But I would say in terms of Zach coming back, it's either going to be week 4 or week 3 to me. Maybe. I would give it less than a 5% chance. It's the week 5 home game against Miami. But to me, I think the play is either week 3 or week 4. What do you say, Roshan?
I mean, here's the thing. Mm-hmm. Whenever these coaches for now are telling us that the timeline is going to be quicker than expected, that's what scares me, because that's what we heard with Mekhi Becton.
Right? Yeah, that's a good point.
We originally heard that he had a significantly better timeline than we expected. So I would love for him to come back on week 3. I honestly would love for us to be able to stack a win against the Browns, stop the run. That's the main thing. Like you said, Jacoby Brissett, we should be able to take a win over that, because offensively we can hopefully keep up. But if we can stop the run the way that we stopped the run this week, get a win under our belt, have a positive momentum in week 3. Hopefully Zach is back, taking that positive momentum for the whole entire team and trying to bring it forward,
Yeah, that was so impressive to me week 1. Again, the Jets had the worst rush defense in the entire NFL last year. They head into this game against the most dynamic rushing attack in the NFL, and they held Lamar Jackson to his lowest rushing total of his career. They held not only Lamar Jackson, the entire Baltimore Ravens offense to somewhere in the ballpark of 63 yards rushing, which is one of their lowest output in years. So the Jets defense stepped up to the plate, and that is something that is incredibly encouraging. Something that wasn't, though, and we go to Matthias Simon here next, is the offensive line play. And I understand George Fant's struggles. Left tackle, right tackle, left tackle, right tackle. I mean, they've been asking him to do all kinds of, musical chairs. I don't blame the guy that he was terrible week 1. That makes sense. The one that didn't is Laken Thomas. I just don't understand. Again, it just has to be a bad day at the office. He's been in this scheme before, and he didn't even have to move positions. The Jets felt so good about Laken Tomlinson that they told their future all-pro guard Elijah Vera Tucker, hey, young pup, kick it to the bricks, kick it to the other side. That's how great they felt about Laken. There's no way that Space Jam style, his powers have been stolen by the Monstars. Laken Tomlinson is still a nasty player, look nasty in the offseason. I still think he's going to be good. Again, it's a bizarre experience. I have no idea why he performed so terribly, but I do believe that they're going to bounce back. But to Matthias's point, they have to bounce back for the Jets to have better results, or again, it will be that insanity, because if the offensive line is destroyed, Joe Flacco has absolutely no chance. And that's the thing I noticed being there week 1 in person, is that when anyone broke through, it was over. Like, Joe Flacco cannot avoid anything. And again, that really crushed the Jets. But if the offensive line plays good, and we saw it during training camp, when the offensive line's doing their business and Joe Flacco has time, like almost any quarterback in the NFL, he can dish it. But again, they're going to have some better protection this time around if they have any chance against Cleveland, especially a defense has Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney. Pretty darn good there. But good comment here, Matthias. Boy Green, we got old Italy Jet. Let's bring him in. What's up? Hope you're well. Let's get back on track on Sunday. Amen, brother. Let's get back on track. Let's keep the positive vibes, as Robert Saleh is absolutely a fan of. So yes. And again, it's Cleveland. Like, if the Jets don't beat Cleveland, you're 0-2 heading into the Bengals home game. I just feel like this is a real pivot point in terms of optimism. For me, I'm a glass half full guy all the gosh darn time. But I understand not everyone dances to that Congo drum. So to me, that pivot point is so important. Being 1-1, beating the Browns in any way you do, 100 points, 1 point, doesn't matter. And then you go to week 3 and you're like, okay. And then there's a chance Zach Wilson can return. Now you're getting hyped up. 0-2, and then you go play the Bengals, it just doesn't feel the same, would it, Roshan?
No, absolutely not. And building off of a solid momentum, right? Mm-hmm. Like, if we can stop the run the way that we stopped the run this week, we have a really good shot of winning this game. build that momentum into the Bengals. We have that momentum from last year too, because we did beat the Bengals last year as well.
Yeah.
So these are all good trends that we can continue to lean into if the defense can stop the run. You stop Nick Chubb, you stop Kareem Hunt, and it's a wrap at that point.
100%. I would, which basically is what you're doing. If you stop the running game, which two dynamic running backs, I believe Carl Lawson called them both top 10 running backs in the league, perhaps a little aggressive, but I love it. Throw rose petals at your opponent's feet. That's cool. But I think you say, if you do that, you're like, all right, Jacoby Brissett, start lighting it up with Amari Cooper. We'd love to see that. That'd be the first time in your gosh darn career you journeyman backup quarterback, but we'll see what happens. So, yeah, Jacoby Brissett time. And this one, of course, sad news as we bring this in. Everaldo de Jesus, Jamal Adams out for 2020, torn quad. We dodged a bullet there. I wrote a piece about it earlier today. Again, former first rounder, of course, Jamal Adams, number 6 overall pick. And the big thing here is that Jamal, and it just goes to show sometimes just luck of the draw. We talked about dodging a bullet here, Everaldo, when Jamal Adams was here, all pro, and never missed a game. He missed 2 games in his 3 years with the New York Jets. In his 3 years now with Seattle, it's now going to be a perfect sample size. He's going to miss 25 games in 3 years. I mean, just absolutely brutal. He's missed at least 4 games each of these seasons, especially now since he will obviously miss the other 16 games of this campaign. And just the luck of the draw from that standpoint, that they avoided the injury, which would have happened. They avoided, of course, the contract. Jamal Adams became, at the time of his signing, the highest paid safety in all of football. So the Jets in this trade, by the way, again, wrote a piece about it earlier. All in all, what the trade amounts to, besides the pieces that kind of flung off like Bradley McDougall is no longer here. But you got Elijah Tucker. He looks pretty gosh darn good. And then you have Garrett Wilson, who, again, limited sample size, but all accounts looks pretty good. And they got Jamal Adams. And Kobe Bryant was the 4th rounder. They ended up getting the Cincinnati corner, who I really like as well. But still, unproven rookie. It looks pretty good for the Jets. They avoided paying Jamal Adams all that money. They got a lot of young talent. And I think, obviously, the heist of the century, getting 2 first-rounders, a 3rd-rounder, and Bradley McDougall, who didn't amount to being anything but all the draft picks. But with all of that being said, my thoughts and love are sent out to Jamal. I know it ended horribly. He sheriff fired his way out of town and burned a lot of bridges, but a passionate guy, and I don't root for injuries for anybody. And by the way, quite frankly, this doesn't help or hurt the Jets anyway. All the draft picks are used. After 22 is over, it doesn't matter what happens with Jamal. All the picks are cashed in, so to speak. So whatever happens with Jamal is of his own volition now, but certainly sad news. I know if I go looking at that man cave over there, there's a Jamal Adams jersey or two, and it's kind of sad, but yeah, he is out for the season now with the torn quad. Really sad here, Joshi.
You handled that with such kindness and tact.
Wow, thank you.
But since I'm not a person that is running a platform,
yeah,
dude, you know what? Sorry that you got hurt, bro. You single-handedly turned a whole entire fan base against you. We all loved you. That
was impressive.
Yeah. We all wanted to see you in the Hall of Fame, bro. You single-handedly turned us all against you and then rode on that wave for like the next year. And you're still sitting there talking about the Jets in podcasts and stuff. So, no, you didn't bow out gracefully. Sorry that you got hurt. Hope the best for you. We ended up making out. Thank you, JD. You're a true businessman. Thank you for the culture. Love it. So, yeah. No,
this is Jamal, why we're both.
I've met Jamal. I actually have a couple of signed hats from Jamal. Like, I really, really, really like the guy. Broke my heart because of the way he bowed out. Because he could have easily said, during that time frame, during that Gase time frame, if he would have just straight up said, "Hey guys, I'm trying my best here. You guys aren't trying for me. I'm going to request a trade." Bet you that like 80% of the fan base would have been behind him.
Yeah, 100%. But this is why we have both of us on the show. I'm the politically correct guy, saying all the right things. I'm the charismatic host with a colorful tie on, and then Roshan Joshi is just the hot take artist. He's just slamming things, and I love it. You speak from your heart, which I love.
I'm just saying, like, think of the Lions and Stafford. Yeah. They love Stafford,
right?
Like,
yeah,
that's because he did right by them. Even though he's on the Rams, all of Lions Nation was in his corner. Mm-hmm. So you can handle things with tact. He didn't handle with tact. So, that's right. I'm gonna enjoy watching AVT crush people for the next 10 years and
100%
people. So
and think about positional value. Again, you get a guard, you get a wide receiver over a safety, which again, while he did do, I will give a tip of the cap. The first season with Seattle worked out very well for him. Again, he is in the midst of his third season with Seattle. He had 3 seasons with the Jets. In his first year, he broke the single season sack record. That's 9.5 sacks. That record stood for 15 years. The one and only Arizona Cardinals legend Adrian Wilson held that record for 15 years. So Jamal got that, got a Pro Bowl nomination. That was his 3rd straight. Got an All-Pro nod. That was another one. Unfortunately, of course, the years have been mired by injuries, and Seattle has been bad. So and so bad, in fact, that they blew it up. And Jamal thought he was going to this team that was on the verge of Super Bowls, and Russell Wilson got traded. Not sure how Jamal Adams felt about that one. I didn't get the quote at the old press conference. So it's funny how it all worked out because again, Joe Douglas hit the eject button on a player who obviously didn't want to be there. Got a great haul, and he knew that the Jets weren't going to be able to compete in that same way over that time span, and obviously they didn't. So, it all worked out for everybody. Let's see here. Oh, yes, this topic. How did this topic not make the headline? The QB drama already 1 week a month ago. Robert Saleh slamming the table. Joe Flacco is a starter in this league before Zach Wilson got hurt. As soon as he got hurt, I guess we all said, well, I guess we're about to find out if he is, pal. And he left the door open for a potential quarterback change. Then he kind of went back on it and said, well, Flacco's probably the guy. And then official Zach Rosenblatt, Rich Cimini, all the Jets beat reporters reporting that it is Flacco. They never seriously considered moving on. But Matthias isn't asking about any of that. He's asking our gut here. If Flacco can't get something done by the second quarter, do they pull the crane? Do they yank the guy and go, Mike White time? To me, I'm going to be honest, Matthias, I'm going to throw a cold towel on this one. I think candidly, Mike White sucks. He had the Hall of Fame game, and that was cool. And it was the hot, sexy trend of the moment. I'm like, wow, this is great because you didn't expect it. Those are the greatest things in life when you get the surprises you didn't see coming, and it's great. And you got to ride the wave for as long as it lasts. It lasted 1 game. And then, unfortunately, the next full opportunity there for Mike White was against Buffalo. And unfortunately, I was at that game, and he completely imploded. I mean, he fell apart like a used lawn chair, a sack of potatoes on the street. It was just all god-awful, imploded, and then he was benched for Joe Flacco. So for me, no, I don't think so. I think you can't say that Robert Saleh a month ago and then a game and a half in go, nah, blow it up. It's Mike White time. I don't think so. I know there's a lot of Mike White stance out there, and I know I'm offending all of you with all the words that are spewing out of my mouth, but I got to tell the truth. I got to speak the gospel on this show. That is what God put me on this earth to do. So I would be just lying and placating to the fans if I said hashtag Mike White time, and I just played with your emotions, fans. But that's not the kind of guy I am. So no, hell no. It's Joe Flacco, and unfortunately, you better pray at bed before you go tonight. I know we're getting pretty late. We're already in the next morning, for Pete's sake. But pray to bed that Zach Wilson's coming back sooner rather than later. That is the hope, not Mike White. Joshi?
Yeah, man. I do want to touch on the fact that, yes, Mike White did fantastic in the Bengals game.
Yeah.
Guys, when there's no tape on somebody, their show-up is going to be very, very different than their second game. So then when there's sample size and a defense can actually dissect tape on somebody in an infrastructure, in the Jets infrastructure, changes the game on the next one. Dude, I don't know, man. Here's the thing. We haven't won a game. We haven't won a game with Flacco yet.
No,
we have not won a game with Flacco yet. So it's do you pull him in the middle of the game? The Jets organization is not going to, because, well, they're not going to turn their back on what they've been saying. But do the Jets need to heavily invest in a backup quarterback? Absolutely. Get me a Nick Mullins. Get me a Gardner Minshew. Hey, he could ball. He sure 400 yards on the Jets last year.
That's true.
So give me a decent, solid backup quarterback. No, they're not going to pull Flacco in the middle of a game and put in Mike White, especially since the fans booed last week. They're going to double down. So we haven't won with him. Are we going to pull him? Probably not. But do we need to invest in a backup quarterback? Absolutely. Everybody understands Zach Wilson's not going anywhere. We've invested in him.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how good the backup quarterback is. We're not getting rid of Zach. get a backup quarterback in there. Have some confidence.
Yeah, I just win a damn game. Whether it's Flacco, White, or the Flacco and White have a weird baby, and that baby wins a game. I don't give a flying hoot. Just win me a gosh darn game. We'll go a little rapid fire here, but also everybody like the video here on YouTube. Feel free, even if you're watching one of the other portals, you hop on over to YouTube to show your support. Like the video, hit subscribe down below, and check out my boy Roshan Joshi. Of course, you can hit him up, Rojo Sharp on Instagram. All the links are down below. And also, again, the XV community call, which we'll be getting to here in just a little bit. You guys can also super chat if you'd like to guarantee to get your question featured on the show. That is available on YouTube. And you throw a little tip into the old tin can, and we will dance like a monkey. All right, let's throw a couple more in here. Game 4, Steelers won't have Watt. That's correct. TJ Watt was officially placed on IR. Automatically out for the first 4 games. The Jets are on the road in Pittsburgh for week 4. That is correct. Stephen Pollock with a prediction. I think Zach Wilson's back next week no matter what. Again, I think that is a fair bet. That could make a lot of sense as well. Let's keep rolling here. Wow, a lot of Mike White fans in the comments I see. Well, God bless you. God bless you. Oh, yeah, a little throwback to the 90s. What's good? Party people! Oh, I heard that song the other day. That's great. That's all I talk about, getting all the vibes right. That's another good one to get there as well. Guys, keep them coming. Oh, there you go. I'll throw that one in there, Matthias. Yes, Max Mitchell, shout out to the kid. I was a little concerned heading into the game, but he was not the worst offensive lineman. That trophy apparently goes to the Laken Tomlinson household. So, Max Mitchell, great work doing God's work. Making sure you guys can get that in. You know, this is a perfect time. I'm seeing a lot of questions in here, but Roshan, I want to work this in. I want you to explain to people, as we've been doing on all these live shows, again, Facebook right now, YouTube, Twitter, we've got 20,000 Jet fans hovering on Facebook. YouTube, we got a couple thousand. Twitter, another couple thousand. There's a lot of people waiting on bated breath to learn more about your contributions to the show and how people can return the favor via a free Zoom call you host every week. Tell us the details. What's kind of the origin story here, and how can you help people for free?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, number one, once again, Roshan Joshi from XV Community. XV Community is just a community that I started around last year, and it has grown wildly. I have no idea how the heck it's happened, but I think we're putting out some great content, which is great. Every week we have a different 7-figure earner on a Zoom call that I host, and we go through their journey. Most of the times it's in real estate, and sometimes just in business. Sure. And these are people that started from nothing. I think my last guest was born and raised in a mutt hut in Vietnam. Wow. Moved over here, and I think 2 years ago hit his first million, and now
inspirational.
Yeah. There are just a lot of awesome people that I get to come across all the time. So I can't contribute to society yet financially, which one day, hopefully I'll be able to do that. So my way of contributing to society is through knowledge. So I'm really good at networking. I tend to network really well in the real estate space. So I get to meet a lot of people with rental like portfolios, really large rental portfolios, or they're really big into the fix and flip game, or they're really big into the wholesale game, or commercial game, whatever the case may be. So I get to network with all these people. I get to sit down and ask questions all the time. And out of that, I've just created a platform where instead of just me meeting the person, now everybody else on Zoom can come and meet the person as well, listen about their journey, get any insights that they can, and then be able to ask any questions that they have. Like right now, I'm sitting in a house and I'm paying in New Jersey $750 for the mortgage, essentially, because all the rent is covering all of the rest. Wow. So there are these little strategies. I was paying $1,800 like a year ago when I was renting. Oof. Right? So there are just little strategies that you can utilize to be able to maximize the amount of money that you're either earning or you're saving. And I'm not the smartest dude in the world. So I just go and I get people that are way smarter than me, and I have them give that value and that insight. So that's my service to everybody. We don't charge anything. I just think that we're all human beings, and we're the human race. We're not in a race against each other. So if we can do this stuff together, if we can build, even if we can create one ripple effect of positivity and change one person's legacy where they can build something up by taking inspiration from others, or getting in rooms with peers that are all on this self-growth journey as well. That would be the best thing for me. So also why I'm a giant Jets fan. My dog's name is Jet. So I was like,
Yes.
You know what? I see my man is out here grinding on that Jets mode. I have to give that support. So that's kind of how we came into Cross as well. So
absolutely. And by the way, is there a limit to how many people could be on the Zoom call on a weekly basis? Do you have a number? Hey, sorry, Pat, you didn't get a seat to the house. You can, or is it an unlimited amount?
No, I mean, for now it's 100.
Okay.
So if the room locks out at 100, then you're good. Guys, I'm gonna be honest, we're not hitting 100 people yet. I think we're at
let's change that. Let's change that, people. Again, the information and description in the link below, no matter where you're watching. Again, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And again, a lot more information. Rojo Sharp on Instagram. So guys, hop on over. And even if you're not on Instagram, how about make it Instagram? It takes a couple seconds. Get with the hip kids, people. What are you doing with your lives? That to me is very interesting. And again, I saw this come up, so I want to give another opportunity because I know this is a live show. We've been going on for about 35 minutes and change here, and people are kind of coming in and out. So I will throw this up from Keep It Simple RC. Been a while since I caught Boy Green live. You're welcome. Thank you so much for joining us here. Who's the guest? Again, Roshan, can you do another opportunity to introduce yourself? Also, where people can hit you up, like your Instagram, and do a quick little introduction. And, of course, your Jets fandom, of course.
Absolutely. My name is Roshan Joshi, aka Rojo Sharp. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm one of the sponsors of Boy Green. Big Jets fan internally as well. But of course, as a Jets fan, I'm going to always, and a business owner, I'm going to always empower and elevate the Jets fandom. So one of the sponsors for Boy Green, support him a lot. I'm in the real estate space. So what I'm trying to do is shine a little bit of light on a free call that I hold. It's called XP Community. Every week we have a earnings and learnings call for free. We have a different 7-figure earner in either the real estate space or in the business space to be able to provide insight from their journey. You're able to ask them questions, and you're able to be in a room full of peers that everybody's trying to strive to better themselves, better the people around them, and better their families. So it's a service that we hold for free. I don't upcharge anybody for anything. It's just more of like, that's my contribution to the human race. Hey, like, real estate's one of the oldest possible ways to make money ever since you can create a shelter. I'm good at it. Let me put the love across the Jet fandom as well.
I think that's a really cool and, quite frankly, honorable to be able to do something of that nature, to try to, everyone tries to find in their own way, I hope and believe. Because I'm that kind of person where I see the best in people. I think everyone tries to find their own purpose, their own way that they can contribute back to a world that has given them whatever it has given them. So I think that's really cool that you are doing that, quite frankly, my boy Rojo.
And before we hop off of that, like, I do want to say, like, most people either make them their millions or they park their millions in real estate. I was looking at George Fantz. Because he does a lot of philanthropy stuff as well.
Yes, I've seen. Yeah,
I like him as a philanthropist. I think he's awesome. He's doing like Airbnbs and stuff as well. If you look at guys on like the Pivot podcast, they're heavily invested.
Oh yeah, I love those guys. Ryan Clark, yes, Jake.
So when you have either money that you can leverage into something, an appreciating asset, or if you have the knowledge or the peers around you to be able to take action, to be able to build something up, that's kind of where we're in there. So
yeah, I want to give one shout out here. Speaking of sponsors, I want to give a shout out to our wonderful sponsors here. And we did a giveaway, which you guys may have been a part of. It was on all my social media portals, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and them all. And we were giving away some Jets merch, which, by the way, we're going to be giving away Jets merch throughout the entire season. So I hope you guys can be a special part of it throughout the entire season. Our good friends over at Ulta. And by the way, we have picked a winner for the very first contest. And I'm going to be honest with this winner could have come on any social media portal. Could have been Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. But our winner came from YouTube, Chrono Kenny. Again, Chrono Kenny, Chrono Kenny, Kenny. I have a link to your channel, but I have no way to reach you. You are the winner of our contest, winning a cool Jets baseball shirt, which is awesome. And like I said, we're going to be giving away Jets merch all year long. How are we able to do it? I have no idea. Just take the free merch and go. But Chrono, we'd love to give you the free merch. So I'm going to have a way to reach out to you, an email. So again, I am everywhere at BoyGreen25. So Chrono Kenny, if you're seeing this, if you're listening to this, hopefully you see this soon, because again, you are the winner. And our friends over at Ulta would love to reach out to you to send you your prize. So again, Chrono Kenny, Chrono Kenny, and I know you've been a frequenter on all our social media platforms, so feel free to win that. Amazing, and that's great. And wow, you're getting a lot of love, old Rojo here. Nice, bless you. That's amazing, and people are really resonating with your story, which I think is awesome. And again, for me, and I'll just kind of break this kind of fourth wall here, I guess, that throughout my entire, I've been doing this Jets podcast game for over a decade now, both audio and video, and being in kind of the sports media realm. You've noticed a lot of the people who have either been an OG here since the beginning or a recent, person that jumps on the bandwagon, which, by the way, we don't discriminate. Either way, old, new, we don't care. Hop on the ride, and again, like the video and hit subscribe. We always appreciate it. But I'll tell you this, that I've had people reach out to me before to want to partner and be a sponsor on the show. And with you guys hearing the lack of sponsors here on the show isn't because, we're not hitting the people. I like to, for me, I think our words mean something, that there's a loyalty. I don't want to just, someone just says, hey, Paul, I'm going to give you $1,000. I want you to spit out my restaurant, and your restaurant sucks. I would feel terrible if I go, well, I got that check is cashed in the bank. Hey, go on over to Joe Blow's restaurant. And then you're like, oh, I like Boy Green. Whatever his words say are pretty good. Let's go check out the restaurant. You go there with your family and it sucks. Like, that Boy Green guy sold me up the river. What the hell? So for me, when I work with sponsors, I want the sponsors, someone I believe in. And Rojo, before we even did any level of business workings with one another, Jet fan, a commonality, a familiarity. And that was a beautiful way that I saw Rojo just commenting and interacting with my stuff as any, member of the Jets community would. And that's what built this entire relationship. So guys, take a few minutes, first off, to follow my boy Roshan on Instagram at Rojo Sharp. You see it right there under that beautiful mug of his. So feel free to show your support from that perspective. And speaking of doing free things, which by the way, that's absolutely free. All it takes is a little time out of your day. And if you're all watching this, what are you doing anyway? Grab the phone, scroll on over to the gram, and show some support. And again, guys, check out the free Zoom call where you could just improve the quality of your life, do something, try to make something of yourselves. And again, it's a free Zoom call. There's no cost required. If you want to dive in and you don't like what you hear, dive out. Or if you want to dive in and I don't know, maybe I'm willing to go out on a limb, you learn something. You're like, wait a second, I think I'm going to start tuning into the Zoom call. By the way, when that happens, you're welcome, because we're the ones who guided you on this ship. So those are just a couple of notes and quotes I'd love to share here again, as we're just doing a live chat here, talking Jets, some Thursday night football, kind of dabbling around with my boy Rojo. And I just got to say that this has been a beautiful partnership. This has been exciting, and it's great for the first time to introduce you officially, introduce us as a team, and also you to the fans. Put, again, a name to a face, as a lot of people, as I'm seeing with the comments here, are kind of resonating with as well, to try to understand who you are, what you represent, and what you stand for. And from, as far as I'm concerned, you're just a great person, and you're trying to do great in the world, and you're trying to, Noah's Ark us, get us all on a boat and take us somewhere. And I want to go on a journey. I want to go on an adventure. And it sounds like we could do that on a weekly basis with a free XV community call.
Oh, no, dude, I love it. I think that there's so much mutual respect between us as well. We're both very service-based, and we're both very integrity-based. I mean, dude, you just did your first giveaway, which is awesome.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You are servicing your community. So aligned partnerships are so important. The fact that we are both, there's a lot of mutual respect there. fact that integrity in our word is very important, and the fact that we're Jets fans, man. So
yes,
just I love it. I can't wait to just continue to see where this relationship develops, but not just the relationship, man. I can't wait to see us talking a little bit more about the Jets winning football games on a weekly basis.
Yeah, I would love to see that, and to be honest, that's another thing. So we're both driven individuals, and we both know the dedication that exists. Because if you're a Jets fan, you have to be in. I mean, there's no way that you could just kind of mess around. So that already, from the get-go, that characteristic, that trait on your bio, immediately like, you know what? This is a guy I can have a beer with. This is a guy I can dive in with. And quite frankly, let's kind of circle the conversation back to Jets Browns. I'm seeing all these people commenting in here. Keep it simple, RC. I just want to freaking win. We all do. And that goes to, and I want to make sure we circle back to this. It's part of the headline. So I want to make sure I'm a man of my word and work to it. The Robert Saleh receipts. And I know that it was a viral comment. Some people, and it seemed like the majority, at least from I saw, and sometimes the majority isn't the small minority that's speaking that gives us the perception that that's how everyone is saying. Not everyone is vocal. I've got a lot of listeners and viewers on my show that they've told me privately, hey, I'm a big fan of your show. I'm never going to comment. I don't like being in the spotlight, but I just love your content. They never say anything. And to me, I make no difference to that person or people that love jumping in and getting involved. So I will say this about the Robert Saleh thing, which a lot of people seem to take negatively and seem to take like fans who have had criticisms about the team, think they're going to get caught on receipts. Here's my thing. I like a little bravado. To be honest, after coming off of Gase, who is god-awful, and Todd Bowles, who is just like a silent statue, we haven't had it since the Rex Ryan days, and that was coming off Eric Mangini, by the way, where a little zest. I'm not kissing Belichick's rings. Whoa, that's different. You know what? We have receipts. And when we turn it around, and I know what's going to happen, paraphrasing Robert Saleh, I'm going to be willing to throw it all in your face. Then he goes on the Michael K show and says, oh, I didn't mean just throw it in your face. I mean shove it down your throat. I'm like, oh, phenomenal. That's what I want to see. Now, of course, with that, Robert Saleh obviously has put a lot of pressure on himself to win football games, because if he doesn't, every single week, the media is going to come to him and say, receipts, fans, receipts. So he put an immense pressure on himself, but I love that he put himself out there, because guess what? He's putting that pressure on himself. He chose to say those things. He chose to put himself out there. And to me, that's encouraging. And quite frankly, it's about time that we had some standards, okay? We've had one winning season in 11 years. We haven't been to the playoffs in 11 years. We've lost 13 straight games in the month of September. I mean, I can't even believe that's a real stat. I got to ask my production team, is that real? I'm hearing that it is. It's just disgusting. So you know what? That's why I want this win against the Browns so gosh darn bad. 1-1 to the average team is like, okay, 500. What is it? But it keeps the fans into it. It keeps us interested. It keeps that meat on the end of the stick on the treadmill. Like, hey, baby, there is hope, and hope is what we need right now in the worst of ways. I think Saleh provided that. So that's my take on the receipts. What was your take, Joshi?
Yeah, I don't mind the receipts. I don't mind the listen, like you gotta in this business, in any business, right? If you are the CEO or if you are the head coach, right? You have to be able to double down in what you're doing. So I'm with it. I get the fact that if you are seeing negative out there, instead of fine, you could block it out or you can hone it and use it. Now, that being said, and I love Robert Saleh.
Yeah, me too.
You can talk all you want, but I need to see what you're doing. Like, you got to be effective, man. You can say whatever you want to say, but if we're not seeing it on the field and there's not accountability, then there's an issue. I can't hear, oh, we were really good except for 2 plays.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we still lost. So we need that accountability is key. I am with the receipts. Use it, drive it, make your team and your locker room better by giving them, the idea that prove everybody wrong. I think Tom Brady did that one year with at Tampa Bay where everybody said he was old, and that's
right.
Great. Win games. The one thing that I really had an issue with though, was and I'm paraphrasing here.
Sure.
If you don't believe in us now, we don't want you back later.
Yes, on the Michael K show, the quote that Roshan is mentioning, and in case you missed it, at the end of his Michael K show interview, coming off of the media, that's where he first said the receipt. He said, if you want to get off the boat, but don't come back. Essentially saying that, the true believers in us, and now I'm just ripping off and interpreting his quote, but the true believers that have been with us the whole time, awesome. And if you want to ditch the boat now and you think we're going to be terrible and the same old Jets and all that, get off, but don't come back when we're good. And again, Robert Saleh continues to reiterate, I know we're going to be good. I've seen rebuilds before. I know this locker room has a it factor. They just need to realize it. So just some context to your quote there.
Yep. But don't hit me with the don't come back. I've been here since I was 6.
Yeah.
Like, I've been through 11 tough years, man.
Sure.
I'm glad that you've come on board. And I couldn't ask for anybody better to come on board.
Yeah.
But like, I have a little bit of empathy towards the fan that we've been looking at bad product on the field. Instead, have that wide embrace for everybody and say, listen, guys, like, I get that you've had a bad product on the field. We're going to win games and we're going to invite everybody on board. Let's all take this train together. So rather than division, I would have loved to have heard unity.
Sure.
Between the football team and the fan base. Because right now there is a division, little bit, between the football team and the fan base.
No, I would say that as well. And again, I can only assume that he must be talking about the borderline fans, because there's no way just, candidly, I'm a Jets fan, okay? But, candidly, I imagine there's not a lot of bandwagoners. They're like, the Jets is where I need to go. I would love if that's the case, even though I'm not a big fan of bandwagon fans, like, ride or die, whatever way you want to. However, I would have to imagine those are the ones that he seems to be calling out, which rubbed a lot of people the wrong way on social media. So we will just see. Again, it's a results-oriented business. The words are great, and they rev me up in the middle of the week on a Wednesday, Thursday, and all these days that we've been going through the week since the Robert Saleh comments. However, you need to win a damn game. And I can't have the excuses, as you just mentioned, of we were right there. But, we allowed a couple of explosives, as Robert Saleh would say. Well, don't allow them and win the damn game. Let's finish this off, Roshan, with, of course, a Jets-Browns prediction. Let's throw it on the line. Let's put some skin in the game here. The Jets are a 7.5-point dog on the road against Cleveland. Health-wise, a nice little benefit earlier today, as I give you a little time to think about this, is that there was no non-participant in practice. That's the first time in a while for the New York Jets. Zach Wilson was back in limited fashion. The only player that was a full participant was Braxton Berrios. He had the heel issue, but everyone else was limited throughout the whole list. Jordan Whitehead back. Robert Saleh seemed to give him the death note earlier in the week. Oh, wait, he's back. So, okay, sounds great. We'll keep an eye out for him. George Fant. CJ Uzomah, that was a new one. It seems like he hurt his hamstring in practice this week, although he barely played in week 1. To be honest with you, it's the Tyler Conklin show, but one worth noting. So for the most part, health does not seem to be an issue outside of the injuries that we already knew happened heading into this one against the Browns. So let me ask you, Jets-Browns, do they get the job done? Do you believe? Do you drink the Kool-Aid? Are you buying in based on what you saw in week 1 and what you hope to see in week 2? Give it to us.
Yeah, man. I mean, so I'm going to look at it from an objective standpoint, right?
That's a good place to look. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So Jets were very good at stopping the run.
They were.
The Browns only have a run game. They have a backup quarterback right now and a very sketchy wide receiving core.
Yeah.
So defensively, I think we can hold up. I don't think that this is going to be a shootout.
I don't think so either, right?
Yeah. So I'm looking at Dude, honestly, I'm looking at like a 14-17 or 17-14 towards the Jets. Sure. I think if we win this thing, we're going to win it by a kick. We haven't done anything where we have proved that we can go into the red zone in a 2-minute drive and actually score. I still think we're going to win because I think that what we can do very well is shut down the run, and what the Browns can do very well is run the ball. So if we can shut them down on the run, keep our offense at least moving the chains, let our playmakers make those plays that they can. Conklin will be able to hold on to the ball. Breece Hall won't fumble the ball. If we can touch up these little mistakes, I think we can get 2 touchdowns and a kick across the field, and we can hold them. So I'm going to go with 17-14. I don't think anybody's breaking 20.
Yeah, to be honest, I think that's the thing you got to feel great about is the Jets defense looked great against Baltimore, relatively speaking. Again, there's a couple of safety lapses. Sauce and DJ Reed, by the way, were the only cornerback tandem in the top 10 of QBR allowed. So again, they look phenomenal. So the defense looked great. And again, to your point, in a very simplified version, Brown's really good at running. Jets really good at stopping the run based off of week one. So it seems like their offense is limited from a ceiling perspective, which again only brings you to 14, 17. And you say no one breaks 20. And I'd venture to guess you were right about that assessment, which means the Jets offense only has to score 2 touchdowns and a field goal. Now, apparently, we thought the field goal issues were over. And Greg Zuerlein said, well, hold my beer, pal. Don't get too aggressive there. And we've had a lot of kickers, but Brant Boyer came out today earlier and said he believes in him. Just a bad day at the office. And God, I hope you're right, Boyer. We've had enough of the kicker musical chairs from that perspective. And quite frankly, as I see a couple more questions in here, I'll get those before we get out of here. But to me, I'm in a similar vein. I have the Jets winning 19-16, not breaking the 20 mark. I'm in that very ballpark. Again, Myles Garrett is a weapon of mass destruction. And Jadeveon Clowney, I think a lot of people disrespect. He is phenomenal as well. I'd get rid of the ball, and I would run the ball up the gut. From what I understand, the weakness of this Browns defense is on the interior, and I would test it. I would go old school, turn my cat backward, I formation up their gut, and try to limit what Joe Flacco could do. Now, if you have a couple of max protection looks and you can use Joe Flacco's arm that apparently is still good at 37 years of age, take a couple deep shots, draw a PI call. You have Elijah Moore, you have Garrett Wilson, you have guys that can make big plays, utilize them to that magnitude, maybe with the play action game, which, by the way, Flacco exceeded. I think it was like 15-17. He had 59 attempts, so plenty of choices and chances, but I believe it was 15-17 on play action throws. That is the bread and butter of this offense. So run the football, contribute. And by the way, the running game looked pretty good. Michael Carter and Breece Hall, but they just went away from it in the second half for whatever reason when the game was still close in the middle of that third quarter. So that's going to be a key as well. But I believe the Jets are going to come out with a win, return home at 1-1, and hope is still in the air. This is one question I've seen throughout the show, so I want to give it to you. Keep it simple, RC. What's the word on D Brown? I'm going to be honest. I got a clip to share out for my Connor Hughes interview that should drop tomorrow on Twitter. Again, I am feeling quite nervous that we ever see Dwayne Brown again this season. I hate to be a negative Nelly because, again, I am an optimist by nature. But based on all the story gathering I'm doing, based on comments from Robert Saleh, some of the inserters I've spoken with, it seems like Dwayne Brown could be out for the year. They're hoping with the IR stint that he's back week 5 and he'll be good. But they're trying some voodoo kind of magic to try to see if they can heal that shoulder. And at his age, and an offensive lineman, how often they use their shoulders, which, spoiler alert, is every play. I am very pessimistic on Dwayne Brown's return, which means get used to the George Fant Max Mitchell show. But the good news is it's only up from here. The more reps they get, the better, I believe, ultimately, they're going to get from that. And a couple other people throwing in predictions, 17-21 Jets. I like it. And also great avatar, the little dog shaking chicken wings. Trin the Great. Great work there. That's phenomenal. As well. So, yeah, Roshan, that's going to wrap up this puppy. A brilliant debut. Quite frankly, a contract extension is in the works. We're going to put in a word to your upper management to get a pay raise based on that performance. That was spectacular and certainly a guy worth re-signing. Roshan, I got to be honest, man, this was phenomenal. I'm glad to finally do this on the variety of platforms that we are. I've told you this privately, of course, publicly. For you are a key component of what we're able to do here, and it's because of your generous contributions to the show. And it's great to get you on air, man. You're doing a lot of the behind-the-scenes work, but great to get you on air in front of the camera to show you that beautiful, sexy mug of yours to all our wonderful fans that are tuning in. Roshan, this was awesome, man.
Hey, man, no, it was an absolute pleasure on my end as well. It's honestly, dude, it's a blessing to be able to support guys like you. You're doing such an awesome job with the Jets community. You're right. People like you are the glue that holds us all together as a fan base. So
that means a lot,
dude. No, Boy Green is where it's at. Paul, what you're doing in the community and holding us all together is awesome. And real quick to Jets fandom.
Sure.
And this is just me personally, right?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
But at some point or another, I do want to hear. All right, we do have our JETS Jets chant, but at some point or another, We do need to lean into land of the free, home of the Jets, Jets.
I don't know what happened, to be honest with you. I'm so thrown off that when I watch the old school Jets and the home of the Jets, like where did that go? Why did we stop that? I don't like. I remember Brick and Mangold and the True Heart. I'm gonna have to ask somebody what happened there that allowed that to disappear, because I missed that in the locker room, and hopefully someone can bring that tradition back. Because I'll be honest, when I'm watching old school Jets highlights and I see that, I'm like, yeah, baby. And then today, Jets on 3, 1, 2, 3 Jets, and that's fine. But like, it just doesn't have the same verve. I completely agree, Joshi. That's a great one. And what's your other one?
No, that was it right there.
Okay, well,
that was it right there.
Well, that is absolutely beautiful, and thank you, Roshan, for joining. This was awesome, everybody. Thank you so much for all the wonderful questions and the contributions late on a Thursday and early on a Friday as well, guys. I hope you enjoy the game. We got a couple of videos on the channel. You guys can feel free to check out. Again, Connor Hughes was on the channel earlier this week. Phenomenal. I asked him, hey, 20 minutes? He's like, sure. 51 minutes. So, guys, enjoy the unbelievable content, generous with his time. I love Connor Hughes. And also, like I said, our Jets-Browns preview is also up on the channel as well with Jared Mueller of the Browns Wire, if you want to get some insight on who the Jets will be playing against on Sunday. Roshan, awesome stuff. Thanks, pal.
Paul, I might have one of the best lineups in real estate, but you have one of the best lineups in Jet fandom. You got everybody, even our opponents' people. Make sure you're tuning in to Boy Green on all your platforms, and make sure you're hitting that little notification bell, because he has the hottest people that you could want plugged into your ears almost every day.
And I got to say, I was able to impress my fiance. So I brought my fiance and my baby to their first Jet games ever on Sunday at MetLife Stadium. Again, wish it would have went better, but it is fine. We were at the official Jet shop. I'm standing in line with my family, and this guy's in front of us at the cash register. And I hear him like whispering to his girl about something. And then he turns around and he's like, "Your Boy Green?" And I'm like, Yes, I'm Boy Green. He's like, man, I freaking love Jets Twitter. You're the best, man. And then when he leaves, I turn to my fiance and go, pretty cool, huh? And she went like, you paid that guy, didn't you? I'm like, no, I didn't pay that guy, woman. And so again, the Boy Green stuff, the Jets Twitter, I love each and every one of you. So whoever that guy was, he never told me his name before he skedaddled off. But you know what? I love all the support that we've gotten on all these channels. These channels have been growing. And I think a great thing about Roshan is you didn't just go to the biggest Jets content creators with 50,000 subscribers and everything else they have. You went to a guy that you identified. Quite frankly, you're our scout. You went, you know what? I think this Boy Green guy is going places. Let's partner up and see where we can both grow together and moving forward. And I feel the same way. So this channel is going to go long and far, and I love it. I see all you guys in here, and you guys have been here since the beginning, and it's great. And we're going a lot of places, and I hope you buckle up for the ride because, again, well, all gas, no brake, baby. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and Roshan, we'll have to do this again soon, pal.
Absolute pleasure, man. And Jets, Jets. Let's jet up. Let's win.
Let's go. That's what we're looking for. Everybody, make sure, again, like the video, hit subscribe. Go check out Rojo Sharp on Instagram if you haven't already, and we'll be back on the channel soon. Again, remember, we'll be here for the post-game show on Heavy on Jets, our YouTube channel and Twitter account coming on Sunday shortly after the game. So we'll see you guys then. Thanks, everybody. Have a